Have you ever looked in the mirror after a fresh haircut and felt heavier? Older? Like somehow you walked into that salon hoping for a little lift, and walked out feeling like the years had piled on instead of peeled away? If that's happened to you, I want you to know it wasn't your imagination. And it wasn't your face. It was the cut. Here's something most stylists won't say out loud. There are haircuts that genuinely steal years from your face. Soft, flattering cuts that make you look lighter, brighter, more alive. And then there are cuts, popular ones, cuts women over 60 ask for every single day, that quietly, silently age you. Not because you did something wrong, but because no one told you which is which. That's exactly what today is about. We're going through 6 specific haircuts, 3 that take years off, 3 that add them back on. And I'm going to tell you not just which ones do what, but why, so you can walk into any salon with confidence and walk out looking like yourself again. The younger, fresher version of yourself that you still feel like on the inside. Stay with me through the whole video because the third aging haircut on this list surprises almost every woman I talk to. It's one of the most requested styles for women over 60, and it's doing real damage. And the third youth-giving cut? It's the one that women with fine, thinning hair keep saying changed everything for them. So don't go anywhere. Let's start with the good news. The soft layer bob that lifts the whole face. Let's start here because this one genuinely moves women to tears. In the best possible way. The soft layer bob. And when I say soft, I mean it in every sense of the word. Soft layers. Soft ends. A soft, rounded shape that frames the face without boxing it in. This isn't the blunt, heavy bob your mother wore. This is something lighter. Something that breathes. Here's why it works so beautifully after 60. As we get older, our faces naturally lose volume in certain places. The cheeks get a little hollower, the jawline softens, the overall structure shifts. And what a heavy blunt bob does is draw attention straight down to the jaw and neck. Pulls the eye down. And when the eye goes down, everything looks heavier, droopier, older. A soft layer bob does the opposite. The layers create movement. They lift the eye upward toward your cheekbones, your eyes, the upper part of your face, which is where all the light and life in a face lives. When the eye goes up, you look lifted. And you look younger. Not because you're hiding anything, but because light is landing in the right places. Now, what makes this cut especially powerful for women over 60 is what it does for the jawline. If your jaw has softened, and most of ours have, and that's completely natural. A layered bob with a slight outward curl at the ends creates a gentle frame that draws attention away from jowling and toward your eyes and smile. It's not about hiding. It's about guiding. Your face is still you. The cut just shows it more kindly. Here's what to tell your stylist, and this part matters. Ask for a bob that sits between your chin and collarbone. Ask for internal layers. Not choppy ones, but soft ones that remove bulk without removing length. Ask for the ends to be slightly textured, not blunt. And if your hair is fine or thinning, tell your stylist you want the layers kept a little longer. Shorter layers on fine hair can make it look even thinner and flatter. A lot of women worry this cut requires a lot of styling. Doesn't. With a round brush or even a simple diffuser on slightly damp hair. This bob falls into a beautiful shape in minutes. It's graceful without being fussy. And that's exactly what we want, something that works with your life, not against it. And stay with me because the second youth-giving cut coming up is one that most women dismiss too quickly. And it's a mistake. 2. The wispy pixie that doesn't take, it gives. Okay, I know. I can hear you already. A pixie? At my age? No way. And I completely understand that reaction. Most women over 60 have been told somewhere along the way that short hair makes you look older. That it's too severe. Too harsh. But here's the truth. And this is one of those moments I really want you to sit with. A badly done pixie? Yes, that can age you. But a wispy, soft, modern pixie cut done right? It is one of the most rejuvenating things you can do for your face after 60. Not for everyone, but for many, many women, this cut quietly takes years off. Here's what makes the difference. The old-fashioned pixie was tight, flat, and close-cropped all the way around. It left no softness near the face. It highlighted every line. Every shift in skin texture. That version, yes, it could feel harsh on older features. But the wispy pixie is entirely different. The top has length and texture. There's movement at the crown. A little volume, a little lift. The sides and back are shorter, yes, but not shaved or severe. The pieces around the face are left a little longer, a little softer, so they brush the temples and cheekbones gently. That softness near the face is everything. What a wispy pixie does for you visually is remarkable. Because the length and texture at the top creates vertical height, the whole face appears longer and leaner. That's the optical trick. When a face reads as slightly longer, it instantly looks slimmer, younger, more refined. Women who've carried a heavy mid-length cut for years often describe their first wispy pixie as, like someone turned on a light in my face. That's not dramatic. That's just what happens when hair stops weighing you down. It's also one of the kindest cuts for very fine hair. If your hair has thinned considerably and longer cuts are starting to look scraggly or flat, a wispy pixie can make thin hair look intentional, airy, and even chic. Ask your stylist for a pixie with textured ends at the top, soft weight removal at the back, and longer wispy pieces left near the face. Tell them you want movement, not a helmet. Tell them you want soft, not sharp. Honestly, the women who try this cut and love it often say they only wish they'd done it sooner. The only thing to lose is the weight, and the years. Now before we go to the third and final youth-giving cut, which is the one that solves a very specific problem most women over 60 are dealing with, I want to give you a quick warning about what's coming after. Because we're going to get into the 3 cuts that age you, and one of them is going to feel very familiar. 3. The shoulder-length shag with face framing layers. This one quietly changes everything for so many women, and I don't say that lightly. The shoulder-length shag with face framing layers is having a real moment right now, but not in a trendy, this will be gone next year kind of way. It's working because it solves a problem that almost every woman over 60 is navigating. Hair that has lost density, lost elasticity, maybe started growing in at a different texture than it used to. Hair that used to behave beautifully and just doesn't anymore. A shag sounds messy, like something a teenager wears. But when it's done right for a woman over 60, it's anything but messy. It's layered, it's purposeful, and it has this incredible ability to make hair that isn't very thick look like there's so much more of it than there actually is. That's not a trick. That's just what thoughtful layering does. Here's what makes the shoulder-length shag specifically so effective. First, the layers start at the top of the head and work down in graduated lengths. This means the hair builds on itself. Each layer adds the appearance of fullness. For women with fine or thinning hair, this is practically life-changing. Where a blunt cut makes fine hair look flat and sparse, a shag with layers makes it look abundant, intentionally textured, alive. And then there are the face framing layers. This is the part that does the real anti-aging work. When layers are cut specifically around the face, starting at cheekbone level and angling softly downward, they create a frame that naturally draws the eye inward and upward. Your eyes become the focal point. Your cheekbones catch the light. The jawline is softened because the hair moves with the face rather than hanging straight down against it. Many stylists combine the shoulder shag with soft curtain bangs, those gently parted, forehead-grazing pieces that sweep to the sides. And for women over 60, this combination is honestly remarkable. The curtain bangs reduce the visible length of the forehead, soften the brow line, and give the overall look of freshness that heavier or blunter styles just can't deliver. Tell your stylist you want a shag with soft internal layers, face framing pieces starting around the cheekbone, and ask them to keep the layers long enough that the cut still has body. You don't want it so layered that the ends look stringy or sparse. And if your hair is thinning at the top, ask them to keep a little more weight at the crown and layer more through the mid-lengths and ends. When women get this cut right, the response from people around them is almost always the same. You look so good. Did you do something different? Not you look younger. Just that quiet recognition that something has shifted, that you look more like yourself, that you look well. And honestly, that's the whole point. Coming up next, we're switching gears because we need to talk about what's working against you. And the first aging haircut on this list is one that millions of women over 60 are wearing right now. 4. The long flat one-length cut that pulls everything down. Okay, here we go. The first of the 3 haircuts that age women over 60, and this one is so common, so widely worn that I want to handle it with care. Because I'm not here to shame anyone. I'm here to tell you the truth so you can choose. The long flat one-length cut. Hair that falls past the shoulders, sometimes to the mid-back with no layers, no shaping, no movement. Just one consistent, blunt length, often kept straight or blown out flat. Women have grown their hair long as a kind of protection, as a way of feeling feminine and soft, and I completely understand that impulse. Long hair feels romantic, feels timeless, feels like you. But here's the thing nobody tells you, and this is the truth. After 60, long flat, one-length hair starts to work against your face rather than for it. And here's the specific reason why. As we age, our features soften and shift downward. The cheeks descend slightly. The jowls become more visible. The neck changes. And what long flat, one-length hair does is create a curtain, a heavy straight curtain, that runs right alongside all of those changes and frames them. It doesn't hide them. It highlights them. The straight heavy line of the hair draws the eye directly to the sides of the face and the jaw. And if the jaw has softened, that straight curtain of hair is pointing a spotlight exactly where you'd least want one. There's also the weight factor. Long one-length hair is physically heavy. And as hair ages, it naturally loses volume, density, and the ability to hold body and shape. So what you often end up with is heavy hair that lies completely flat against the head, offering no lift, no separation, no dimension. It makes the face look flatter. The skin looks dull by contrast. And the whole effect, even on a beautiful woman, can read as tired and heavy in a way the woman herself doesn't feel at all. The fix isn't necessarily going dramatically shorter. Sometimes it's just introducing layers, removing some of the bottom weight, letting the hair above your cheekbones have some movement and life. Even adding face framing layers to a long cut can completely transform the way the face reads without losing the length you love. If you're emotionally attached to your length, and there's nothing wrong with that, talk to your stylist about adding invisible internal layers and face framing pieces rather than taking off overall length. Keep the length but give the hair life. Give it movement. Give it room to breathe. Your face deserves that. Stay with me because the next cut that ages you is one that's going to surprise you. It's a style marketed specifically to older women. And it's quietly doing damage. 5. The very short helmet style permed set that hardened with the decades. Here's the one that surprises people. And I say this with so much love and zero judgment. The very short, tightly permed, set and styled helmet look. The kind of cut and perm combination that was popular for decades. The style your mother or grandmother may have worn. Very short at the back and sides, tightly curled or set in rigid waves all over, usually with heavy product to hold it in place. It looks done. It looks neat. And for a long time, it was considered the dignified, polished choice for older women. But here's what that style is actually communicating to the eye. And this isn't about trend chasing, it's about what the eye reads as fresh versus dated. That tight, rigid, helmet-shaped silhouette has become so strongly associated with a particular generation that it unconsciously signals age before the face even registers. The moment someone sees that fixed, heavily set shape, the brain reads it as older. Not older as in experienced and wise, but older as in dated, as in belonging to a different era. And beyond the visual association, there's the actual structural problem. That tight perm removes all natural softness from around the face. Every hair is controlled and set. There's no movement, no wispy pieces, no frame that responds to light or to the natural lines of the face. What you're left with is a rigid round shape sitting on top of a face that has its own natural contours, and the rigidity of the hair fights the softness of the skin, which makes fine lines and skin changes look more pronounced, not less. The solution isn't to abandon short hair. We've already seen how beautifully a modern soft pixie can work. The solution is to move away from the tight, rigid, locked-in shape and towards something that breathes. Ask your stylist about keeping a similar overall length, but introducing texture and movement through the crown. Letting go of the heavy hold products. Allowing a few soft pieces to brush the temples and forehead gently. You don't have to reinvent your whole look. Just soften it. Give it a little air. That one shift from rigid to soft can genuinely take years off while keeping you in a short, easy wash-and-go style that fits your life perfectly. And now, the one that I think will stop the most women in their tracks. The third aging haircut on this list. The one that's been recommended to older women for years as a flattering option. But it's not. And I think once you understand why, you won't look at it the same way again. 6. The blunt heavy bob with no layers that drags the face south. This is the one I warned you about in the intro. And here it is. The blunt heavy no layer bob. It hits usually somewhere between the chin and the shoulders. The ends are cut straight across, no texture, no point cutting, no graduation. The shape is a solid, dense block of hair that sits on the face like a frame on a painting. And for decades, it's been presented as the safe, classic, elegant choice for women over 60. But let me tell you what it's actually doing. That blunt, heavy shape creates weight. Dense, visible, dragging weight. And it places all of that weight at exactly the wrong level, right at or below the jaw. Remember what I told you about where the eye goes when hair is heavy at the bottom? The eye follows the heaviest point of the hair downward. So if the thickest, densest part of your hairstyle sits at the jaw and below, that's exactly where every person you meet will look first when they see your face. Not your eyes. Not your cheekbones. Your jaw. And if your jaw has softened with age, and most of ours have, that is precisely the last place you want to draw attention. There's also the flatness problem. A blunt, no-layer bob has no internal movement. It doesn't lift. It doesn't swing. It sits. And hair that sits flat against the face without any dimensional layering tends to make the skin alongside it look flatter too. The contrast between the smooth flat hair and the natural texture of mature skin can make fine lines look deeper and more prominent by comparison. Can I be real with you for a second? A lot of women keep this cut because it feels controllable, easy, safe, and I genuinely understand that. But easy and safe isn't the same as flattering. And you deserve a cut that's both. One that's just as low maintenance as a blunt bob but actually works with your face instead of against it. The softest fix is the same one I mentioned before. Ask your stylist to point cut the ends to remove some of that blunt density, and to add just a few face framing layers through the front. You don't need a full layered cut. Even one small session of softening those ends and opening up the front can change everything. Your stylist can do it in under 30 minutes. And you'll see the difference immediately. You deserve a haircut that sees you the way you actually are. Not the way the years have tried to define you. So there they are. 6 haircuts. 3 that take years off. 3 that quietly add them back on. And now you know the difference, not just which but why. The soft layered bob that lifts the eye upward and frames the face with kindness. The wispy pixie that creates height and gives fine hair new life. The shoulder-length shag with face framing layers that makes hair look fuller, and the face look fresher. These are your friends. These are the cuts working for you. And then the long, flat, one-length cut that drags the eye downward. The tight, rigid, helmet-style perm that removes all softness and dates the face. And the blunt, heavy, no-layer bob that places all its weight exactly where it hurts most. These are the ones to reconsider, not because there's anything wrong with you, but because you deserve better than a cut that's working against you. Here's what I want you to walk away with today. The right haircut isn't about trying to look like you're 30 again. It's not about following trends or doing something you're not comfortable with. It's about giving your face the kindest possible frame. The most flattering light. The most natural, gentle, youthful version of the face you already have. Because that face, your face, is worth it. If you've been holding on to a cut that stopped serving you, you don't have to wait for a special occasion to change it. You can walk into a salon this week with one of these ideas, show your stylist what you've learned today and make one small shift. That's all it takes sometimes. One small shift. And the woman in the mirror starts looking a little more like the woman you feel like inside. You're not invisible. You're not past your moment. And you don't have to settle for a haircut that tells the world a story about you that isn't true.